Okay, welcome everybody. I'm very glad to see you all today. We are here to talk about signals and our new magnet strategy. Now, I've got to say, it's unbelievable, but GoToWebinar is throwing us automatically into a new platform. And it's unbelievably frustrating because I can't see your questions. If you're out there, just type something in and let me know that you can hear me and that you could see my charts. I need you to just send me a heads up. I want to make sure that you're hearing me. I know on YouTube people are hearing me, but I cannot tell in all honesty if you're hearing me in GoToWebinar. So give me a heads up. All right, Steve, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, very good. So I'm going to get started. If you have questions, I can see your questions now. So I want to talk about our magnet strategy and signals. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we talk about are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. We trade a methodology called appointment-based trading using the NinjaTrader platform, and we trade futures. So when we say we're doing earnings, we're actually trading futures and we're watching the stock prices, but ultimately we're trading futures when we trade earnings. We invented a very special way to trade earnings using futures, and we're going to have a webinar very shortly on that method because earnings season is next week. It starts up next week. Okay, everything that I'm talking about today absolutely, unequivocally can be traded in a prop account. Probably 90% of our members are using prop accounts. The whole idea with the prop account is instead of coming up with your own money, thousands of dollars to fund a brokerage account, basically what you can do is rent the platform, NinjaTrader, rent data for about $19.25 a month. You can create a prop account that you can trade in. So we have a whole methodology of how we would recommend you trade prop accounts with our style of trading. But suffice it to say, if you don't want to trade your own cash and you want to learn how to trade without risking your own money, trading in a prop account is a great way to trade. Now at 10-Minute Trades, we have a system. Our system has four major elements. The weekly market movers, that's our weekly schedule. The daily market movers, which is a trade report. Not every event that we trade gets a daily market mover, but most of them do. Then we have trade room access and three software strategies: NewsTrader, the Magnet Trade, and the Trap Trade strategy. Inside of our Magnet Trade strategy is a full-blown signal trading system. It's really more than one system. It's a high of day, low of day system, and it's a custom trading system for trading any level you want. And I'll show you what I mean when I explain what a magnet is. And you can target the pivots that we think are the most important magnets to target. Our weekly schedule is very simple. It shows you when our trade room is open, room opens. It shows you the time we're going to be in the room, and it shows the events that we're going to trade. Nothing could be simpler than our weekly schedule. You can get our weekly schedule for free. Just go to the website, www.10minutetrades.com. All over the website, it says get the free weekly schedule, sign up for it, and we'll send it to you. The daily market mover, that's a trade report. Events that we trade, not all of them, but many of the events that we trade receive a daily market mover report the day before the event. It's a trade report, a trade action report that shows you how to trade the event that's coming the next day. It's got information about the event. It has the trade set up. Maybe it even has more than one way to trade the event. We call that the daily market mover. It's a big part of our service. Our appointment-based trading system, it's simple, it's time-based, it's pre-planned. It's a pre-planned approach to the market. What does that mean? You trade on a schedule, and you can trade on your schedule. Choose the events that fit your schedule and trade those. You don't have to trade just when we trade. You can schedule your trades on specific days at specific times. We recommend up to a week at a time, but certainly you could look at the calendars that we show you, and you could schedule up to a month in advance if you want to. Just obviously, you're going to check the week of to make sure that your calendar is accurate. That's all. You know, a lot of trading is just common sense. Just check things before you risk any money. So we have NewsTrader software. That's one of our strategies. The Magnet Trade is one of our strategies. And the Trap Trade is one of our strategies. All three of our strategies, they are simply custom add-ons to NinjaTrader. Our strategies have multiple setups. They can automate or semi-automate your trades, your entries, your targets. So what do we mean? Here's the NinjaTrader platform. We've installed our software into this platform. So if we right-click the platform and click the word strategies, on the left side, it shows our Trap Trade, our Magnet Trade, and our NewsTrader. So for instance, in our NewsTrader strategy, we have a couple of different setups. We have the breakout trade, which is a spike trade. We have the range trade. You've heard of opening range trades. Well, you can create an opening range breakout trade with our range trade. And we have one of our most important trading tools, the reverse continuation. The reverse continuation is a safe scalping tool, and it's one of my favorite software strategies, software setups. It's part of the NewsTrader strategy, and it's also part of our Magnet Trader strategy. So when we say that we have separate or additional setups in one strategy, that's what we mean. You've got the reverse continue, the range trade, the breakout trade, the spike trade, and we even have more strategies for advanced traders. We've got something called the squeeze play, a manual reverse breakout. These are less popular setups. Some of them we used to use during the pandemic. Some of them we still use, but mostly we're trading breakouts, trap trades, magnets, and reversals. Those are the most popular setups that we're using. And we take those setups every single day in our trade room. And we have tons of successful setups using those strategies. Today we're going to focus on the magnet and signals. So let me go back to my slides and just remind everybody that great software is very important, because great software controls your risk, it allows for the safest setups available, and then the key is trade the best performing events. In other words, if you have an event that doesn't trade well, it's not making money, first of all, how do you know that? Well, remember what I said, you get a DMM the day before an event? Many of our events have a daily market mover report. So today, we got ready to trade natural gas. Yesterday, all of our members received an email from us, and it had our natural gas daily market mover report. It has a little journal on the daily market report, and that journal shows you how the report has been trading over the past 6 weeks. Natural gas has had 4 winners over the past 6 weeks and no losers, no stopouts. That tells me natural gas is a good event to trade. It's an event I want to trade because it's performing well. So the key is Trade the best performing events. We're constantly studying, constantly keeping a journal, constantly staying on top of what the best performing events are, and those are the ones that we recommend trading in our trade room. If you have a funded prop account, then you want to trade the best of the best reports in your funded accounts. If you're trading riskier, less better performing reports, you might trade those in your eval. You don't want to trade poor performing reports in your best funded accounts. It's just like cash. Good funded accounts you should treat just like your cash account and trade the best performing events. So where do we find the events to trade? There are a variety of free calendars, earningswhispers.com. We find our earnings trades on Earnings Whispers. They have a very simple way to go to their calendar, and you can just page through the various days. Right now it's a little bit quiet, but starting next week, you're going to start seeing some earnings taking place. We're going to have Citigroup and JP Morgan. The banks are next week. Earningswhispers.com is a very important website that we use to help us find earnings trades. Forex Factory, investing.com. Those are the accounts, the calendars that we use to find our news trades. With Forex Factory, you just click the word calendar and you get a full week of events that are taking place in the markets all week. Futures markets, the Forex markets. We have gone through all these events over the past 10 years. Literally, we've been doing this for 10 years, and we have studied these events. We add new ones when appropriate. We know what the market moving events are. We keep track what the best performing events are, and that's the way that we trade in our trade rooms. In our prop accounts, we're trying always to trade the best of the best events. Sometimes you're still, of course, going to get trades that won't work out, but you want to try to put the probabilities on your side, because trading, it is probabilities. We want the probability of the best performing events because that's going to give us the best probability of making money. Investing.com, another very good website for finding events. Trading Economics, financialjuice.com. They also have a Squawk Box, a live news Squawk Box. If you join their pro version, you can listen to the news in your headset while you're trading. So it helps you to manage your trade in real time and listen to the news results in a headset. For news traders, trust me when I tell you that is a fantastic way to be helped while you're trading the news. So that's where we find all our events. There are three major categories of events: market opens and closes, economic reports, and big company earnings. We love trading market opens. Every morning we're in the trade room trading the market open, but we also love trading end of the day trades, market close trades. Yesterday, or the day before, let me show you what I traded the day before yesterday. Yesterday I had a mediocre end of the day trade, but day before it was fabulous. The day before, so we have a trade. We teach our members 10 minutes before the market closes. We take a breakout trade. It's a spike trade. Our software puts the orders on the chart, and then 10 minutes before the market closes, we know there's going to be a move in the market, and that's the move we're taking advantage of. I was losing money in my account that day. It was a funded account, but I trust the end of the day enough that I'll trade it in a funded account. I traded the NQ. It burst up. It was over a $400 trade, leaving me profitable on the day. Very, very excellent trade. Then, 5 minutes later, we have another setup trading the second end of the day trade. That one is the 1555 trade using Eastern Time. 1550 is our first trade, and then 1555 we take a second trade. That trade made money as well, and then I like to scalp around that time frame, it's a great time to scalp. And we have a trade setup called the reverse continue that lets you do as safe a scalp as a person can take. We put our targets and we put our stops on the chart, and we have a great scalping system called reverse continuations. We teach all our members how to use that. It's a great way to scalp safely the markets that we're trading. So 3 events, 3 categories that create all the events: market opens and closes, economic reports like GDP, jobs reports, FOMC statements, and then, of course, the big company earnings. Earnings are coming up next week. And in fact, we're thinking very seriously of creating a new product. I'm not going to say anything yet. I know I'm going to do it. And it's going to make trading the best of the best events much, much easier. Here we have Home Depot, one of our family money trade earnings reports. We trade it every quarter. Home Depot, they release their earnings reliably at 6 in the morning every quarter, and Home Depot is one of our favorite earnings trades. Big burst to the downside, hit all of our targets, hundreds of dollars of profits just trading a couple of contracts. You know, when I say we made a couple of $100 trading, some people scoff at it and they laugh at it and they go, "Oh, you guys, bunch of losers, that's nothing." We're just trading the way an average beginner or a retail trader would trade. 1 or 2 contracts. We're not loading up. We're not trying to make thousands on each trade because we're teaching. We're trying to teach regular people how to use these methods so they can have either a side hustle or a full-time job trading. If you trade with more risk, then you can make more money. But if you can make 300 on a trade, you can add more contracts and make 1,500 on the same trade. You can also use trade copiers. Trade one trade the same way in multiple accounts. There's lots of different ways to maximize the way you make your profits. So don't scoff just because a trade only made $300. Only. Think about it. For some people, making $300 3 times in a week means $900 a week, $3,600 of extra income a month. That can be life-changing for many people, and that's trading very conservatively. Don't forget, when you're trading with prop accounts, the idea is slightly different now. You're not building up your cash account and just taking out money. You're trading an account with no personal risk, and when you build up your account enough, you pass your eval, and then you go into a funded account, and when you build that account up, you're then able to withdraw money from your prop account. It's a great way to trade. So many people are doing it, and it absolutely is possible to succeed as a prop account trader. Quite a few of our members have sent us their payout sheets. One of our members, Nitin J, has been trading great lately. Here's a $2,500 payout sheet that he had. We've gotten payouts from our Bullinox account. If you put your mind to it, have a system, trade smart, you can absolutely trade other people's money and be successful at it. Now, here's what we're really going to get into today. During trading, we often see the same setups and the same signals getting generated over and over and over. So it's very important that if you want to be able to see these signals, then you need to be able to set your charts up the way that we set our charts up. So we include, for every member, we give them a chart template that lets them set up their charts literally in 3 minutes. So if you create a new chart, this is how fast you can set up your charts to make them look just like ours. So you go to instrument, you choose an instrument. Let's say we'll choose gold. The only thing we ask is make sure your trading hours say use instrument settings and days to load is 2 or 3. Okay, and that's a new thing. We're going to have a webinar in a week from now. We have a big update coming to our magnet software. So you want to keep an eye on your inbox for our next webinar. Big update coming to our magnet software. So we have our days to load data. We're just loading 2 days of data. And our trading hours are use instrument settings. That's the only thing you have to change when you create a new chart. Then your new chart is created, but there's nothing on it. The goal is we want to create our charts to look, your charts to look exactly like ours. In the past, it would take about 20 minutes to half an hour to create the charts. Now, we do have a slide and a video that shows you how to do it, and I recommend that everyone do it at least a couple of times. Just learn why our charts are set up the way they are. But once you know how to do it, you never have to spend more than 2 minutes, because what you do is we have a template. We show you exactly where to put the template. When you put it in your chart template folder, once you create a new chart, all you have to do is right click on the chart, go to template, load our magnet template 2.0, and now to make the charts look exactly like ours, you just shrink down the chart a little bit, tighten it up at the bottom where the hours are, just tighten it up. You're going to tighten up the distance between your indicators a little bit. Basically, you're just tightening up the chart. I'm now done setting up my chart. Notice all that 2 seconds of tightening up, my charts look exactly the same. I've got the squeeze on it. We include that in the template. The volume is included. The VWAP indicator is included. There's the VWAP. That's one of our pivots. The highs and lows, everything is included for magnet and signal trading. The reason it's important is because our signals generate from these pivots. They generate from the high and lows, and they generate from the VWAP. That's what generates our signals. Also, our magnet software is really, really cool. Not only does it generate from high of day and low of day, not only can it generate signals from the VWAP, but we also have something called the ARS standalone mode, which is just a momentum signal system. So when you turn on ARS standalone, signals get generated. And I'm going to teach you today a little bit about filtering signals and a little bit about why I might take one signal over another. ARS standalone gives the most signals of any of our trading systems. When you're getting a lot of signals, it is important to filter your signals. Now, if you like trading on a 5-minute chart, no problem. You could trade and receive signals on a 5-minute chart. You'll still get signals. Any chart instrument also works with our signals. So if you like trading, for instance, the MNQ, no problem. You can trade the MNQ. This chart here happens to be MNQ. If you like trading gold, ES, no problem. Our signals work with every chart that works with NinjaTrader. So signals, they're generic. They're just created by momentum. All right? Signals are basically changes in direction. We're usually not taking a signal in the same direction that we just finished taking a trade. So our magnet strategy, let me go back to my slides. But essentially, let me say one thing so you understand the whole concept. Think about the magnet. Think of it like a little baby. The baby gets born, the baby gets a little older, the baby is 13. So when the baby's born, you're trading the magnet. Then the baby gets a little older, it makes the trade, and now it's a little bit older, and you're exiting when you get a little bit older, and instead of trading the magnet, now you're trading a reversal. So you're starting out as a baby, then the trade gets older, it actually gets to a certain level, the trade ends, and then you have a reversal, you have a new signal and a new trade. I don't know where I came up with this baby stuff. It makes no sense. So forget the baby stuff. A magnet is a trade that looks for a level like the high of day. When you get to that level, you exit the trade. Then we're looking for a reversal signal to take another trade in the opposite direction. That's what magnet trades are. So a magnet can be two trades: the exit at the magnet and the reversal trade. A magnet can also be a custom level. It can be any level that you want on the chart, can be a magnet level, and you can trade and target that level. So, for instance, what is a magnet? The R1 pivot is a magnet. The VWAP pivot is a magnet. The high of day pivot is a magnet. Now, we call all of these pivots. The PP is a pivot. That's a magnet. The price that the futures opened last evening at 6 p.m., that's a magnet. Magnets are levels on the chart that price constantly returns to. When the price returns, we exit our trade. So we know these levels are going to get tested over and over. So we wrote software to target those levels and then exit when they get to those levels. And we made it a little bit more interesting than that. Sometimes it goes through the levels. So we have an extra position you can put on the trade, and you could exit after it goes through the level, however many number of ticks you want to try to get. It's all programmable. So let me first show you just a couple of quick magnet trades. Here's a very typical magnet trade. Let me just find it. We have so many trades in so many of our videos. So this is going to be a YM magnet trade. And a lot of times what happens is we will be setting up a trade to test the low of day. So watch my right hand chart. My right hand chart, I actually put on a trade that triggered as we got close to the low of day, the red line. That red line is the magnet. Our software automatically put our targets on the chart. The low of the day was our exit. And as price heads towards the low of the day, when it gets there, it takes us out of the trade with a profit. Let me show you another one that's a little bit more automated. Give me a second to find a little bit more automated one. Bear with me. I was really slow to get going today. Let's see what we got here. Okay. So again, remember, what is a magnet? A magnet is a test of a level. So here on the left, our magnet software has an automatic button. It turns purple. When that button is purple, our heavy line is our order entry. So looking at this simple chart, because our charts are very simple, you see this red low of day? I'm testing an exit for that red low. I'm going to enter the market when price goes through our order. Our software puts that order line on the chart. When price goes through there, it puts my targets on the chart. Bingo, there's my target at the magnet, the low of day, and it puts my stop on the chart. If I'm right, price is going to head down to the low, take me out with a profit right there at the magnet. Boom, a winning magnet trade. Very often what happens after a magnet, a signal to the opposite side gets generated. So let me show you what I mean. And that's what we mean when we say we have signal trades. So this is a video I recently made about a signal trade. In this particular instance, if you look what happened here, price went up to the VWAP and it just tested it. It just barely tested it. And then because our signal system generates reversal signals at the VWAP, a reversal signal was generated, and the idea there is to go short. We have very specific rules so that the risk is low on our signal trades. We use roughly 10 ticks above the magnet for our stop. So if we're wrong and the price keeps going up, 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 I'll risk 10 ticks above the magnet that created the signal. So in this case, the VWAP created the short. 10 ticks above the VWAP, I'm wrong, and I have a losing trade. That happens occasionally. In this occasion, though, the price starts going down. Our signal was down. I was trading this in a prop account. And this was a beautiful magnet trade. It kept going down and down and down. And then sometimes we'll be taking a scalp, and then we'll have an official magnet trade that takes place a little bit further down. That's what was actually going on this chart. Now the official magnet was turned on. The entry is over here at that thick line. And watch what happens. Entry at the thick line. Remember I said you could go through the magnet for extra profit? There we go. Very, very nice magnet trade. Now that was more than one trade. We had a reverse continuation scalp trade that we took with the first signal. Then we had an official magnet for a test of the low. It was actually two trades that were generated out of our system. That happens all the time, over and over. Here's another signal trade. And a lot of these are videos that we've made. That's why they look a little bit wacky. But doesn't change the fact that a magnet creates a signal. So here we have on the left side, we've got a market that's selling off. All right. And this was a pretty recent morning that we were trading the opens. The market got to the VWAP. That's what this line is. And it generated a long signal. And watch how the market moved. We took the long signal. It chopped around a little bit, and that's not abnormal. Remember, your stop at least 10 ticks below the VWAP. That was what generated the signal. We never challenged the stop. So all you had to do is stay in. It hit your first target. Or you get your stop to safety if you're trading just one position, and you trail, and sometimes you get to trail and trail and trail until the market changes direction and takes you out with a fabulous profit. That was a beautiful signal trade. Now we know and we teach what might generate a signal. Now I happen to be watching Micro Gold right now. Micro Gold, this is live, just made a new high. Down here we have the squeeze. If we get the squeeze to change momentum on 2 bars, we're going to get a short signal right here. Would I take it? Gold is up $62. Okay? I might still take it because I like taking the signal trades. I might take it in this webinar just for fun. Here's our first momentum bar. I know what creates the signals. There are certain features in our software that helps create the signals. But one of the strongest elements of a signal is momentum bars. Now, I do think I'm going to get a signal here, I think, when this bar closes. Let's see if I'm right. Now, sometimes if the candle is the wrong color or closes up, it will not always generate the signal. And that's a protection that the momentum may not be going totally in your favor. So that's why I don't always get a signal every single time I expect one. Let's just watch for a minute. and see what happens. I think this is still a possible. It's a possible. We'll give it another 30 seconds. We can put our trading clock on, and in about 8 seconds we should know. Now, remember, we have a variety of different methods of generating signals. Now, this signal was not generated, and it wasn't generated because it didn't fit the criteria. It still could generate, so we'll watch for another minute or so. The criteria have to be followed. It just doesn't generate willy-nilly signals only because there was a simple change in momentum. And look, it's not really dropping very much yet, so the fact that it didn't generate yet may have been a bonus. We'll watch and we'll see. Every signal is not a winner. Every signal is not perfect. It's the way the game is played. But this is a signal I would be a little bit careful with. Why would I be a little bit careful? We have an indicator on our chart called the net change display, and it's showing that gold is up $62. I'm taking this trade because it's not going to ruin my life if I'm wrong. I'm going to put my stop quite a bit above the new high, all right? Because that's the rule. If gold makes a new high, I'm wrong, and I'll exit the trade. Otherwise, the signal should give me a move down. It's just one position, one contract. If I get the opportunity and it moves enough in my favor, then I will move my stop to break even. We call that move your stop to safety. Then I'll try to trail my stop, move my stop for more profit. Now I'm moving it out of the way because I want to see if I could survive this trade for a minute or two. There we go. Now I'm really trailing. This is a real trade. All right. Now, if it doesn't reverse on me, all right, so it reversed on me and it was a small winner. But that, my friends, is a perfect example of a good signal. I didn't have to move my stop that close to the price. I could have kept it further away and I'd still be in the trade making money, okay? But I made about 30 bucks trading 1 micro on that trade. And I did that live in my prop account as you are watching. That's the most simple signal trade. We made a new high and we reversed off the high, and the momentum changed and we generated a signal. I didn't know that was going to happen now. I couldn't plan that. That's a live market. I'm not trading replay or market playback or anything like that. I'm not a cheater. So that was a beautiful signal on a live market. I can't show the system any better than that. So remember what I said. That's one way that we generate signals, highs of days and lows of days. After the magnet trade gets to the high of day or the low of day. It doesn't mean you have to take a magnet trade before the signal's generated. Maybe you're just trading signals. You could just trade signals all day. So in this case, when we put on the high of day, low of day system, we can adjust our orders for where we want to enter to test the high of day. We also can put our orders on the chart where we want to test a low of day. Should gold go all the way down there, we would enter the market here for a test of the low. Now, obviously, that's just way too far for it to be usable in this market. We're not anywhere near the low of the day. So we have all of this other targeting. That's part of our magnet and our signal system. We target the VWAP. So instead of targeting high of day, low of day, and we use our control panel to do a lot of our targeting, I'm going to turn off the high of day, low of day orders by just turning them off. Go to off. If I want those orders to be automatic, I put them back on, high of day, low of day, and I turn the magnet entry button purple. That makes the trade automatic so that when price goes through the heavy line, it puts me in the market long for a test of the high. But we're talking signals today. I'm looking for reversals. So I'm either going to get another reversal if it goes back up to the high, or if we go down and test the VWAP, I might get a signal off the VWAP that's very similar to what we just got off the high of day, low of day. We can target these areas very simply by choosing, if we want to target the VWAP or the pivots, we just change from high of day to manual entry. And then right below it, it says target. If I want to target the VWAP, I target the VWAP and I move my order down to where I want to get filled for a test of the VWAP. If the price goes down to this area, it will enter me for a test of this area, and I'll exit when I get to the VWAP. Then what often happens, price will generate a reversal. If the market starts to move up off the VWAP, we will get a long signal. And that is what generates VWAP signals and high of day, low of day signals. We also have a standalone system. As I had said before, you can put it on ARS standalone. And what that does is when we get changes in momentum, we get the ability for a signal to be generated. You can see very clearly a change in momentum on the squeeze down here. You've got light green going to dark green. Light green is a move up, dark green is a move down. When you get that change from light to dark, it generates a signal. And that's why it might sometimes generate too many signals, because sometimes you're going to get lots of changes from light to green, light to dark, light to dark, light to dark. But when you're in a nice trend, that's when you get your best signals. So some of the favorite signals when you have nicely formed bars, like here. Here you had a signal right after a nice move up with bars clearly moving up with good upward momentum. And this signal, it was mediocre. It turned out it wasn't a great signal because there's a couple of things you want to do to keep yourself safe. If your filtering is on 1, and if you notice here on the control panel, our filtering says ARS1. Aftershock reversal system is what we call the signal system, and 1 is the most minimal filtering. When you're on 1, you don't take the signal instantly. You very often will wait for the next candle to start forming. If it's agreeable in its directional color, then you can think about taking the signal. A lot of times, if you're in a non-trending market, a choppy market, that second candle might be a different color than your original signal candle color, and it'll keep you out of the trade. Look at this beautiful signal though. We had a nice move down, little bit of, actually no, it was a perfect move down, and then it started moving up. As it started moving up, it generated a beautiful long signal. If you waited for the second candle and got in on the second candle, if we use our little ruler tool and put it at the worst possible entry, not the best, we would have had 58 possible ticks of profit. And we're not stopped out. We never got below our entry. So you could still theoretically be in the trade. I'd probably be out of that trade because it pulled back 50% of the move. So I made my profit when it went and tested the high. Interestingly, that long signal was also a confirmation of possibly taking the magnet long. Sometimes you'll get a long signal before the magnet entry, because think about it, the magnet entry, the magnet, if we put it on high of day, remember where our long is, okay? It's over here. If we look at high of day, low of day, that's where we would have gotten in long if we were trading the magnet setup. We got a signal here to go long. Sometimes the signals will give you very early notifications to get in. So that was a really nice signal. And then, remember, we got that short signal that we took after the test of the high. So one of the things that helps generate signals is changes in momentum. One of the most important things you can do is filter the signals. Our new software, we're releasing it in a week, has a beautiful new feature where on the control panel you can change your filtering by just clicking the filter level. So I changed from 1 to 2, which is more aggressive filtering. And if you go through your charts, you'll find that there will be less signals when you use more aggressive filtering. So to give you an example, if we go to standalone, which typically generates the most signals, and if we change our signal levels, notice less signals, that's going to give you better signals. And if you go to 3, which is a very aggressive signal, every signal was good when we went from 1 to 3. So if you understand how the filtering works and you're willing to be a little bit more patient to get less signals, if you're using our ARS standalone, which typically generates the most signals, you want to filter more aggressively, okay? So we teach everybody what generates the signals. We teach you why you might want to take one signal over another. Sometimes the market is unbelievably bullish. Maybe you just started making a new low, but gold has had a very bullish day that day. Sometimes you'll still make new lows, but you may want to not take the signal so fast unless you're more certain that the low is going to do some reversing. So you have to just pay very close attention to the markets. You want to make sure that when you take a signal, it makes sense, that the market is going to give you an opportunity for profit. Here were a couple of signals. Let me get our time out of the way. A couple of signals that we were trading the market open and we were still watching the markets a half an hour after the markets had opened. And on the left, we often trade the MNQ signals. So we were watching the MNQ. It was a little bit after 10. And if you notice, what's going to happen here, a nice long signal is going to get generated. Why do I like this signal? There were a bunch of new lows being made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. It wasn't the first new low. 5 or 6 new lows were made. It wasn't the first one. So that gives you a possibility higher than if that was the first new low that was made. One negative of taking that signal is the market was rather negative that day. But remember, this particular signal was very, very close to the low of day, which is our pivot. So it's the smallest possible stop we could have had also. A very small stop, making the signal a very good signal to take. Notice the signal easily hit our targets and we had a very easy winning trade. Ironically, on the right, the RTY had also given a signal to take a long. I don't scalp all that much on that particular chart, but that gave a pretty nice upward signal. I didn't record enough to see how good it was, but it looked like it was giving a very nice long signal as well. Let me show you a couple more interesting signals. We trade a lot of YM signals because every morning we're looking for magnets on the YM. So here's a day the YM was bullish, but again it had made quite a few new highs going back to the beginning of the chart. New high, new high, new high. Winning signal on the pullback. New high, new high. Losing signal, but the second candle was green. You should not have taken that signal. If you're making new highs, you always want to wait for the second candle before you take the trade. Make sure it's in the same direction. Had that been a red candle, I would have taken it. The next signal, red candle, it looks like our signal may work. Red candle, we took it. Price starts going down. We get to put our profit protected by putting our stop in safety, expand our target, expand our trailing, and we had another winning signal trade. And we got to trail nicely on that trade. Bingo. Market turns around, took us out, but it was an excellent signal. We have very important rules. If you're filtering aggressively, then I would take signals more quickly because the software is doing the filtering, okay? If the software is doing the filtering, I'm willing to take a little more risk with my signals. All right. I don't see any questions, so I'm just going to keep going. So I've talked about how important our charts are. I talked about how we give you the ability to set up our charts with a video. You can use a template. I've explained what the magnet strategy is. I explained what triggers a magnet strategy. What triggers the magnet is getting close to the exit. Our orders are put on the chart, and that's what triggers it. And I showed you what targeting is. So let me just show you one more time what we mean by targeting. So for instance, if we were going to trade a specific area, okay, and right now the charts are pretty quiet. They're pretty far away from everything. But let's say you wanted to target the PP, because the PP is also in a line with the previous market open. You've got actually two levels at one spot. So we have a simple way. If the market reverses, we could target this area for our trade. And we just go down to the bottom here where it says off. That's our target little block. We put it on manual entry, and then right below that we could target the PP. Choose the PP pivot, and then you just move your order entry. That's where you're going to get put into the trade. If the price of the market starts moving down and down and down, and you get to this area, it puts us in short, and we have a trade programmed inside the magnet software. We can target any of our pivots that way. And you can also target a custom level the same exact way. Now, there's one other very interesting thing about programming your trades in the magnet. So, there's more than one way you can take a signal trade. When a signal is generated, this ARS Entry Now button becomes active. That's the signal activation button. Inside the magnet software, we have the ability to program our buttons. The ARS Enter Now is the signal programming button. And then you have the reverse continue. And that can be programmed inside the magnet. We also have on every chart, you can put a standalone reverse continue. So for instance, on this chart that we're looking at, the micro gold chart, I always have a reverse continue, because I can use the reverse continue as a quick scalp to get into a quick test of a low without even bothering to set up a magnet. Maybe the market's really fast, or maybe I just got here and I want to set up a reversal real quick. So I can set up, look how fast it is to set up a reverse continuation trade. I just click the word strategy. I click the word news trader. Change the breakout to a reverse continue. Tell the software, how many contracts do I want? What's my target? 30 ticks, 39 ticks. What's my stop? 50 ticks. Now I just give the setup a label. So that's my gold reverse continue. And I choose an account to trade it in. Choose the account. Apply it, okay it, and then I can turn it on in the control panel. Remember, I called it gold reverse continue. Turn it on. When I turn it on, I get an instant long and an instant short button. If I think this market's going down, I press the instant short button and it puts me in the market short with a stop and a target on the chart. If I think the market's going up, I press the instant long button. All right. So if I think it's going short, I press that instant short. Hey, I could get my stop to safety almost immediately because the market's going my way. If it continues down, I'll trail. If it takes me out, I'll lose $2, but I just wanted to show you. All right. That's how quickly you can set up a scalp trade, but it's a safe scalp because you got your target, you got your stop. You can move things around. After the news, we use those setups. Before with the news, we use them. During, if you get a signal, you could use it, but you can also program the signal from inside the Magnet software. So if the Magnet software, you go to strategy and you can program the buttons. I'll tell you what, let me put the magnet on my right chart. I have a magnet there. And I'll show you, I'm going to program the ARS button, and maybe you're going to program the reverse continue button. So when you highlight the magnet strategy, if you're going to program the signal button, that's the ARS enter now. That button becomes active when a signal is generated. If you scroll down where it says ARS management, that can be a 1 or 2 position trade. You just tell the software how many positions, what's the target, how many contracts for position 2, what's the target for position 2, and what's the stop. Then when you get an active signal, if you press ARS enter now, if it's a down signal, it'll use that trade setup. If you want to program the ARS, the reverse continue long or the reverse continue short button on the control panel, you just use the reverse continue programming. And you've got up to 3 positions. You've got trailing stops. You've got the ability to move the stop if your first target gets hit. And basically, you're just programming the buttons inside the magnet strategy. So that if I think the market's going short, I just press reverse short and I've got my setup on the chart. The default is 35 ticks and a 35 stop, which works for gold, for oil, NQ. So gold's moving down a little bit. If I think it's going to go in my favor, I could try to get my stop to safety. It's either going to work or it's not. So let's see if it hits my target here. I'll make a very small stop. Because, look, I was just showing you, but I was showing you in my real account. Okay, this is my real prop account. So we lost like $8. So what? Very easy to put safe scalps, safe trades in a prop account using our software. It's not complicated. And we can now do all of our filtering of our signals on the control panel. It's a huge, huge update because it recalculates previous signals so you could see what the market would have been like if you were filtering more aggressively. That's very, very helpful for how you want to learn to filter. So targeting we explained, and again, so what is the ARS system? That's our whole filter system, our whole signal system. Signals are generated when a low is tested, a high is tested, or the VWAP is tested. Or you can use our ARS standalone and generate lots of extra signals. All right, I explained what creates an ARS signal. Changes in momentum. Special programming in the software, yes, but very often you can predict by momentum when a signal is going to get created. And we have 3 different types of signal systems. The high of day, low of day, that's a standalone system. The ARS standalone, and then your whole targeting manual entry. Our reverse continuation trade is one of our favorite, best trading tools. I call it the king of the safest scalping. Members use the reverse continue over and over and over to make money back when a trade went bad, or to make extra money when a trade goes good and your targets were too small and you want to keep going in the same direction. You can do it. We put the reverse continue on every chart. We put a magnet on every chart. So we're always ready. Always, always ready. All right, everybody. Here's the deal. Every week we have a fantastic educational live webinar. You can join us going forward for all of our upcoming trade rooms. Like I said, earnings start next week. Really in earnest 2 weeks from now is going to be a ton of great earnings trades. You can join us for all of these upcoming news and earnings trade rooms, our magnet trade rooms, all the market opens, all our signals trading. You know, you can get paid in a prop account. Our members are getting paid in prop accounts. Everything here is going to be included. You get our Magnet Masterclass. There's a new Mini 2.0 Magnet Masterclass. We'll include that. 10-minute trades, quick start, trade room access, the daily trade reports, the DMMs, all of our software strategy, all 3 of them. We'll teach you how to trade earnings with futures. Everything's included. We're not holding anything back. We call it our Pro Membership 2.0. If you have any questions at all, you can reach us, help@10minutetrades.com. Everything is included. Our news trader software, breakout, spikes, reversals, range trades, market opens, magnet strategy, trap trade strategy. We're teaching the appointment-based trading method. You can trade on a schedule. All the earnings trade rooms, everything. We include it. It's only $97 a month. www.thenewstraders.com. We would love for you to join with us. You could just be a signal trader if that's what you want to do. Now, one thing that people always complain about when they join services, I can't figure out how to cancel. It's impossible. I don't know how to cancel. Just send us an email, help@10minutetrades.com. It's $97 a month. Just please send us the email a couple of days before your billing period. That's our only rule. Help@10minutetrades.com. I think I have a question on YouTube. If you have a question, Stoice Capital, just ask it. I'll see it and I'll answer your question happily. I'll guide you and teach you how to enter the setups into the software. It's easy. I'll teach you how to do it. Every day we do the same things over and over and over and over. So eventually, after a few weeks, it just becomes like muscle memory. Every system takes a little bit of time. So give yourself a little bit of time. It's not a one-day learning. You're not going to do it in one day. You know, it's a 30-day subscription. Give yourself 1 to 2 months to learn the system. Don't quit in one day or 1 week because you couldn't deal with it. Give it a chance. That's the only thing I ask of people. Give it a chance. You'll get our news trader software, our daily market mover reports, our pro trade room is included, all of our software, the trap trade, magnet trade, news trader pro software. Last year's price, because our current prices on the website are $197 a month. We'll keep our last year's prices, just 97 bucks, www.thenewstraders.com, but that price is going away Sunday. So Sunday at midnight. All right. GoPro for just $97. We love our system. We're going to teach you a ton how to become a successful trader. Everything's included. I showed you this screen before. Our members love us. Members are always sending us their profit screens. They're making money. We care about you, the trader. We want to help you, and we will help you. We do all of our support in the trade room. We teach people, show you how to load the software, show you how to do everything in the software. And very honestly, we have a no risk. We'll guarantee everything. First of all, our bend over backwards guarantee means we'll do everything in our power to help you to do well. If you don't understand something, come into the trade room and we'll explain it to you. And we'll do it in front of everyone so everyone can learn. And we have a 30-day money-back action guarantee. Spend 30 days with us working. Trade live in the trade room 3 times a week. That's it. Just take 3 trades in the trade room 3 times a week. Keep a journal of your trades. If after the 30 days it doesn't work out for you, you don't like it, you just hate it, send us the journal and the proof you took action. We'll give you a refund. It's not complicated. Where do you get Ninja Trader, the platform? We need Ninja Trader because that's where our software loads. You can get it as part of your prop account, or you can go to ninjatrader.com and open a cash brokerage account. It's very simple. This is not options and stock trading. We're trading futures. All right? Don't forget, how do you get coaching and support in our trade room? Through other members in our trade room, by me in the trade room, or you can send us an email, help@10minutetrades.com. If you have trouble installing the software, we absolutely always try to help. Every now and then, Ninja Trader, sometimes there's this one weird corruption thing that sometimes it just happens, and sometimes you need help installing. I'd say it's about 1 out of 500 people, but we always try to get you going first. But if something goes wrong, we'll wait a couple of days to start your subscription if you have a problem. We're not going to charge you if you had a day or two you couldn't get going. We're so reasonable. So we will help you. If we're unable to solve a problem, Ninja Trader has great tech support. It's very rare that we go through any problems. Almost always people easily get set up. The prop company, we use Bullinox. We use Lucid. We're always trying new companies. We use the companies that allow us to trade the news. All right? So don't forget, if you need help after installing it, all you have to do is come into our trade room and we will help you. And if you have any questions, folks, go to help@10minutetrades.com. $97 a month, www.thenewstraders.com. We'd love to see you in the trade room tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for joining us at this webinar today. I don't see any questions, so I'll see you all in the trade room. And I hope you have a great day. And just remember to take our signals with us in our trade room. And I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone.